Folks, welcome into the show. It is Thursday, April 12th, 2018. A lot going on the sporting scene. NHL playoffs, NBA heading into the playoffs, Major League Baseball in full swing. A lot of fun stuff to talk about here. There is no offseason at sportsbookreview.com. Welcome into the show, the right side of campus. I'll be your host today, Donnie Rightside, with my partner in crime, the big man on campus, Jeff Nadu. Let's bring him in right away. An angry episode, maybe, Jeff, coming up here. Some good topics that we have picked out.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it, Donnie. How are you today?
Hey, doing good, man. How about you?
Uh, I can't complain, Donnie. Playoffs are getting going on Saturday. Can't be mad about that. Looking forward to it.
Yep, just getting some live links out there as the big man always lets you know before the show. Retweet it. Give us a like. Check into the chat box here. And if you saw the hashtag line here, Jeff, when you're waking up in the morning when you were a little kid, maybe third, fourth, fifth grade, or maybe even sooner, this ain't romper room. Come in, share your opinions. Let's have a great back and forth. The show, as we always like to say, Jeff, is what? Only as good as the chat box will provide us. Let's have some fun today. We'll get into some topics. But yes, yesterday was interesting. We did have the NHL playoffs start. I'm not sure, Jeff, that the NHL playoffs even started yet, which we'll get into a few moments here in the city of Philadelphia, because it seems like the bus hasn't arrived to PPG Arena out there in Pittsburgh.
Who cares, right? It's like 7-0. I didn't even know that Flyers. I saw they were on. I saw they were down. I didn't know. I didn't know what the final score was. Yeah, pathetic game for them. I mean, my God. I don't know. What do you even say about that? Did they even get off the bus?
No, and I don't, because we were having a conversation on there while you're talking on the phone. Just slide it on, like 3 minutes go by, 1-0. Another couple minutes by, go 2-0. By the end of the conversation with me and you, I believe it was 3-0. And was there any other need to watch last night? And the good part, though, Jeff, which again we'll get into here, is the Philadelphia 76ers. So why not get into some headlines here? We'll start with that one first. 16 straight wins for the Sixers. The Flyers were already done by 8 o'clock Eastern time, Jeff. We flipped over to the Sixer game, and they absolutely destroyed the 6th seed Milwaukee Bucks last night. Absolutely fantastic performance again. But this is what you come to say, Jeff. You brought it up before. Sixers don't lose at home. Not only do they not lose at home, they blow teams out. Impressive.
Yeah, they win by 35. The game was over pretty early. I mean, they jumped out to, I think, a 20-8 lead. I mean, they never really looked back. Yeah, look, they wanted that third seed last night, and they weren't going to stop until they got it. A big-time win for the Sixers. And that crowd down there really continues to be boisterous. I mean, look, we've talked about it here on the show. We haven't had a team, really in 5 years that have been any good. Really, Donnie, I mean, since 2001, they haven't had a team that was really that good. I mean, they've had teams that have made runs and, maybe won some playoff games, but never with the thought, the down the road kind of stuff that this team has. The team that it will be good for years to come, will do things for years to come. You don't have that excitement. You haven't had that excitement with this team, but you do now, and a lot of people are starting to act like it. Yeah, look, they've been fantastic. They're 29-10 at home now, 30-10 at home this year. Yeah, it was great last night down there, and they took it to Milwaukee right out of the jump.
Yeah, Milwaukee came in. I mean, they didn't play that well, but they came in fully healthy in that game. And also, they needed a win in that game to save their first-round draft pick next year. Now they go into a coin flip situation with the Phoenix Suns, where not only did they get bounced last night, they might lose their first-round draft pick next year. So some impressive stuff out of the Sixers with a lot on the line, Jeff, for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks. Like I said, they got jumped on very early in that game, and it was no looking back. I mean, and they did it a lot of the time for the Sixers without Ben Simmons. He only played 22 minutes. I mean, we obviously know Joel Embiid didn't play at all. Markel Fultz with a triple-double last night. You look at, and this is something that's amazing, Donnie, about this run. Last night, you have Justin Anderson, 25 points. Justin Anderson out of nowhere.
Yep.
Night before, you had, Bellinelli and Ilyasova. You've had, JJ Redick. You've had McConnell. I mean, it seems like every player on this team has had at one point this year some career game, and the question continues to arise: are they a better team overall without Embiid? Which I think is kind of ridiculous, but it's nice to know that when he's out, they can still win basketball games. And they go into the playoffs here on fire, 16 in a row, 52 wins. What a great season! In a season that, look, if you would have told me they would have finished third, no one would have believed you. Donnie, I've when I was a kid, my father had season tickets. We used to sit right behind the media. I remember so many great memories there when I was a kid at First Union Center. Remember when it was like Core
Yep.
State Center and all these different places?
Yep.
And like I said, you only really remember Iverson because that's when the glory days were around, and he was my hero, and he was every kid's hero. And then we went through so many years of just no competitive basketball, really, and it's nice to see the city get some great basketball. And hey, the sky's the limit for this team. Who knows?
Yeah, no, it's they're really a really good basketball team. And we've talked about yesterday, which everybody getting mad. Great players want to play in great situations. So keep that one on the mindset in the offseason this year when one team makes a run and only gets better by adding world-class all-time players, Jeff. We won't talk about which player, which team that is, but I think we know who.
Well, we know who it is, and we know that at the end of the day, LeBron James going to the Sixers is a foregone conclusion. It just is. You could try to argue it, you try to act like it's not going to happen, but it is going to happen, and we'll just have to wait for a couple more months here for it to happen.
No, a lot of fun there. And also, Jeff, little side tidbit in that game. Markel Fultz with his first career triple double. It's kind of funny the way the Sixers reacted once he got it. Literally a mob scene, as if you would have hit the winning 3-point basket in, a championship game. It was kind of funny. And the one thing I take out of it every time, Jeff, even with the big celebration, Markel Fultz, same expression on his face. It never changes.
No, I like watching him a lot. He's fantastic with the basketball, just effortless. Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I mean, just everyone seems to have a good game. They all seem to care. They all seem to want to play together, and yeah, it's refreshing for sure.
No, I hear that, Jeff. And also, we'll keep it moving here in Philadelphia. Make it quick. Temple makes it official. One of the more awkward situations that you're going to see in college basketball or in professional sports or college sports anywhere, the succession of the head coach to the next guy in line. Now, let's keep in mind, Jeff, it's not like Bill Snyder at Kansas State says, I want my son, to be the next head coach, and it's going to be an even handoff. It's not Joe Paterno handing the football game over, excuse me, handing the football program over to Jay Paterno to keep it in line. It's one of the situations where a lot of people like the head coach, but a lot of people want the head coach to be already moved on. And to me, it makes no sense. And especially, Jeff, if you're Fran Dunphy, you're going to be in your last season, right? The guy in line is your right-hand man, assistant coach. The players all know, and this is always the key respect, is why managers are never left hanging, Jeff, in their last year of their contract. They're always extended an extra year, the same thing in the NFL, because you want the anvil over the player. If the player is playing as a freshman or a sophomore and says, Coach, I'm not listening to you because once you're out of here, I'm going to get my shine on next year. I'm going to be a starter. I'm not even trying to hear you. It's a really weird situation. I know they want the nice handoff for recruiting purposes and say, hey, Coach Fran's going to be here, but Aaron McKee's the man next year. He's already here. You don't have to worry about if he gets fired or retired. I'm going to be your head coach. I get that point of view. But from the other aspects of it, Jeff, it doesn't make much sense.
No, it's a stupid idea, and we never talked about this because it happened right as I was going to the Final Four, and we never really talked about it. But it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Listen, if you want to bring Aaron McKee in to be the next coach, fine. I don't think that's a particularly great move. I mean, I'm sure it'll work at some levels, but who knows? I'm not really worried about that. I'm worried about the fact of why are we doing this and giving him an extra year? What's the point of that? So another throwaway season to give Fran Dunphy a swan song as he leaves Temple. Who cares? Move on. Why are we doing this? When does this ever happen? We're going to give him one final year to make it right. Fuck that. We're wasting another year here. And again, I am not going to support this team. I'm sure a lot of people won't as well. It's just going to delay the inevitable one more year. It's already difficult to build a team. It already takes 2 or 3 years. Now you got to wait longer while Fran Dunphy has his swan song. Look, the whole nice guy thing, we get it. He's a nice guy, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But he doesn't win games. It's only going to just throw away another season and then make it more difficult for a guy that's coming into his first coaching job. Aaron McKee might be one of the great coaches in basketball history. Who knows? But why continue to delay the inevitable? Bring him in. Cut Fran off. Say thanks, Fran, for all the memories. Bye bye. Why are we leaving him
Yeah.
around for another year? It's a total waste.
No, no, yeah, and the original point is like you do that when you have like legendary status, Jeff. Like let's just say let's say Nick Saban at Alabama is like, you know what? One more year, and like hell yeah, coach, stay one more year, have the handoff baton. You won numerous national titles. We don't want to see you go, but if we can get you for one more year and already have the even handoff, I love it. It's not the same situation when you're dealing down in North Broad and Temple. The better days
I
of
mean, what's
Temple were 20 years ago.
I mean, what's the love affair with this organization and this school in like going with these guys that are all Philly guys? They've grown up here. Like, why don't we go outside of that area? Maybe go after a coach that's done it before, and you can continue to groom McKee. I mean, again, he's been in coaching for a decently long time, but all as an assistant. I don't know. It's just kind of that old boys club. It seems like you're grooming everybody. Aaron McKee. I mean, he's from Simon Gratz. He played at Temple. He played with the Sixers. He coached with the
Yeah.
Sixers. Now he's coaching at Temple. I mean, it's like it's always like that. Dunphy's the same way. He's from the area as well.
No, you're right. You're right. And I guess I like to keep it in the city. I mean, Fran Dunphy is a local legend, and again, he is a good guy. But results matter in this business, and he didn't get 2 or 3 years. You know, he didn't bounce him out like he did, like let's just say Tubby down in Memphis. I mean, you want that next ammunition. It looks like a lot of the way these coaches are going, or some of these institutions coming up, Jeff, is you have to win the recruiting game. You have to win the battles. So I guess if they see, young, African American head coach played in the NBA, he knows the ropes, he's been there, done that. You might have an advantage going into a kid's home as opposed to Fran Dunphy, because we know Fran Dunphy like locally, right? What happens if Fran Dunphy goes to Texas and tries to recruit a kid? What do they know about Fran Dunphy? But you know what? They might know about Aaron McKee. So we'll keep it moving here in some of the topic lines, Jeff. A great feel-good story here, which you know me. I like to be Debbie Downer in a lot of situations, and I'm going to play this situation out. Andre Ingram and the Lakers love to see this type of things in sports. 32-year-old, after 10 years, Jeff, in the G League, finally gets to play in an NBA game, finally gets to put on the show, scores, 19 points in that game. It's really a good story, but I'll bring it down in a couple minutes here, Jeff.
Well, I don't think there's a lot to bring down. I mean, the guy who's in the G League for like 380 games. I mean, that's a long time. You see a guy here who isn't making a ton of money. He's not going to make a ton of money. Maybe he'll get a tryout after this, which you got to feel happy for. But he's basically bounced between, playing overseas and the G League. He went to American, was very good there, and he graduated. That's a great school. Graduated with a degree in physics. I read that he tutors kids in calculus in his off-season time. This isn't one of these guys where you look at like the league right now with some of the stories we're hearing about Tristan Thompson and all these shitheads, but then you hear about a guy like this that really obviously just plays basketball because he loves it. I'm sure he can make a lot more money, doing something in physics. Great story. I mean, it is what it is. I know where you're probably going to go with it, and I'll let you do it. But I'm not sure you could. I'm not sure you can spin this story negatively.
No, no. Now, look, I preface this by saying, Jeff, it's not actually about the player. I love the story. I think it's cool. The same way we brought up where like the accountant goalie comes in and picks up a win for the Blackhawks. Those stories are awesome. The same way we look in Philadelphia with Vince Papale. Oh my God, the guy who's playing street ball, beer ball league down the corner makes the Philadelphia Eagles. Those are great stories. But then I like to twist it around because you know me, Jeff. We're Philadelphia fans. We like to twist the knife a little bit. Shows how far the Lakers have fallen, Jeff. I mean, so far. You have a guy that played 10 years in the G League, and now you're bringing him up at the end of the year. You're showing highlights on your own team channel, how great it is. You give him the basketball. You're opening statues out front on like Elgin Baylor or whoever's getting another statue there. I remember one time, maybe 10 years ago, where the Lakers were valiant and trying to win title after title and ruthless. And then where did they turn the corner, Jeff, in the giving Kobe Bryant like $30 million to stay around 1 year? We're not trying to win this year. We just want to have a parade that Kobe Bryant's out there. Then you have like 16 retirement ceremonies for Kobe Bryant. You're bringing guys up out of the G League as some sort of gimmick here. You might as well get a statue every year because the Lakers, when are they going to contend for the West? 5, 6 years more down the line here? I like to bring it back here. Love the story, but I like even more of how far the Lakers have fallen in the NBA, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been relevant in a few years now, and they're not going to be any good for a few years now, and that's why LeBron James is not going to the LA Lakers. There's no reason for it. They're not competing. They're not going to compete, and they have fallen far. You're right. I'm not going to disagree, but the story is nice. in a league where you don't see this very often. At the time in his life, LeBron is all about family. His wife and mother do not want to leave Cleveland.
Yeah, right.
His kids do not want to leave Cleveland. But if LeBron does leave Cleveland, he's going to L.A. He said he wants to produce movies. You did. How many times are you going to say the same thing? I mean, didn't you bring this up last week? I mean, okay, you know what? You're right. He's not going to Philly. Going to L.A. Dan Kelly, because he wants to be a
Yeah.
movie producer, and you can only be a movie producer if you live in L.A. Um, okay, Dan. Fair enough. How about we make a bet? You want to make a bet that he goes to Philly and not L.A.? Let me know what you want to
Yeah,
do.
no, we don't even need to make a bet, Jeff. It's the stuff that we put out this all the time because I like the back and forth. I say Tiger is garbage and never is going to win a major, hoping the fact that everybody comes back week after week after week and he never wins and I'm proven right. Well, I'm on the same record with you here with LeBron James. Do we know exactly what's going to take place? No, but you can sort of take little tea leaves here and there and build the pieces together. LeBron James is about one thing, getting to the finals, winning enough titles to try to surpass Michael Jordan and or Kobe Bryant. If he goes to the Lakers to make movies, he's not winning any championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. The whole point is the easiest path to success to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And it's no longer in Cleveland. Not because, Jeff, the Cleveland basketball team can't be good. It's because they can't afford to have LeBron James next year. He's going to leave. So when you look all around the NBA, he's not going to the Western Conference where he has to fight every single night against supreme competition. He's going to look to the East. You find me a fit in the East that works better than the Philadelphia 76ers. There is not one. Yes, Jeff.
Exactly. That's my point here. But we can all these guys, Dan Kelly can, you know, I don't, what does it matter that he has a house there? Who cares? What does that matter?
And look, and Jeff, hold on, Jeff. LeBron doesn't want to leave Cleveland. He already left there, didn't he? LeBron doesn't
Oh
want to
yeah.
leave Miami. It's so nice down there. He left Miami. Why would he not leave again? What? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm sure. Again, you do know. I mean, he is like worth almost like $1 billion. I'm sure he has houses everywhere. You know, we'll see. Who knows? I just think it's the best fit. I don't think he's going to the West Coast. He's not going to the Western Conference. It would be
And
dumb. And why not stay in the Eastern Conference? At the foregone conclusion, you'll
Yeah, no,
get to
it's
the
it's and
finals
it's
every.
it's going to be this. It's the same stuff, the same heartbreaking stuff. Where Giannis is leaving Milwaukee. He's not going to play for the Bucks for his whole career. He's going to go to warmer pastures. Kevin Durant was leaving OKC, and no, like when you're, I understand when you're a fan, it hurts. It hurts in this stuff. But some people have to tell you the truth of what actually is going to happen down the line. These aren't all feel. Oh, Shaq's in Orlando. It's so much fun. He's in the Magic Kingdom. We all saw Shaq going out to LA because he wanted to make movies and win championships with the best organization. Now, Jeff, if the Lakers were coming off a championship and were ready to go and had a max exemption sitting there waiting, I would say, you know what, Jeff, he might go to LA because the situation is phenomenal out there for him. But it's not.
It's not right. There's nothing there that they're a couple years away. They don't have a ton of talent there. There's a couple guys you got to like. You really think he wants to sit down and deal with LeVar Ball and that situation? You think he wants to play for that young coach Luke Walton? You think he wants to play for a team that has to contend every year or every night with the Rockets and and Utah and Golden State and all these different teams? He can go and stay in the East, and he's gonna move. He's going to move to the NBA Finals every year. I don't see it, but we'll see. I'm willing to bet. What do you want? Let's do a couple $100. I don't know, whatever you want.
Man,
Let's move.
forget about money. It's more about man to man. Like I told you, just make sure if LeBron goes to LA, you come back in here, and we will give you props. We're stand up people like that. But if LeBron goes to Philadelphia, come in here, and as Jeff would like to say, go ahead, Jeff. What would you like to say if he does?
We're going to sun you. That's just how it's going to go.
Or kiss
Um,
the ring, whatever it is,
yeah,
all that stuff. Right?
right. I mean, we're going to sun you, and then you're going to tell us that we were right, generally, like always, and that's that. Um, okay, Dan Kelly obviously knows so much about real estate, and Dan knows that he's gone to LA. Okay, Dan, fair enough. Make sure when he doesn't go to LA, you come in here like
Yes.
a man, because here's what most people do. Okay, I'm going to tell you what most people do. Most people that you know don't want to they don't want to come in and kiss the ring and be real. We don't ever see them again. We've had people come in here and say stupid stuff. They'll come in here and say, oh, yo, get on Fairfield tonight. They're gonna win the first, or they're gonna do this, or the Sixers, and then they would never hear from him again. There was a guy in here, Jay Peach. He used to come in here all the time. He used to say the stupidest stuff. Jim Bean does it. Jim Bean will say stupid stuff, and then we won't see him for months on end. Then he'll pop up and say another dumb thing, and then that's it. It's not about
Yeah, a
Dan
lot of
Kelly being a
the
jerk.
heart. Yeah, it's a pretty good point you bring up because as that Eagles run went on, it was fun messing with the haters. And once they won the Super Bowl, a lot of people haven't appeared back in that chat box for a long time because hey, own up to it. If Tiger wins a major, wins a tournament, I'm going to put a poster up in the background for at least a full month to recognize that I was wrong on Tiger Woods. There's nothing wrong with being wrong as long as you own up to it. But those are the facts I like. If you come in here to this chat box and you give a good opinion and a hard opinion, we like the challenge back and forth, like whatever Dan's
Donnie,
saying out there. Love it. I love it. I love the back and
and
forth.
here's another problem that a lot of people have and I even have it sometimes. I see people bringing up the fact that Dan's a sharp guy. I don't disagree with that. What does that have anything to do with what we're talking about? We're starting quarrels here that aren't there. I just don't agree with Dan. And what does it have to do with him being sharp? So what, you think I'm trying to embarrass him because I don't think he's sharp? I'm sure he is. Seems like a real nice guy. Him and I talk all the time. I just don't agree with what he's saying here. And what I'm saying is, if he's wrong, I want him to come back in and say it. Which he will because he's a stand-up guy and I know he will. This has nothing to do with him not being sharp or him being this. It has nothing to do with that. We're just having a convo
Armin
here.
brings Armin brings up Donnie Big Man. If LeBron wins a title and Philly greater than Dr. Dre, no. And he actually, if he comes here and wins 2 or 3, would you even put him above AI though? Because AI is like our legendary son that willed his. He didn't win anything, but some of these hardcore monikers we have, like Dr. J, is really elevated here. Allen Iverson is really elevated here. Charles Barkley is really elevated here. Like you have to do ridiculous things to try to overcome some of those guys, but I don't think so. Dr. J is just a legend. You can't say anything wrong about Dr. J here.
Rams smashed the Eagles this year. Who gives a fuck? We already won, motherfucker. I know one team that ain't going to win nothing. Yeah, exactly. Who gives a fuck? We already won a Super Bowl, Bo. We don't care. That's fine. Hey, all you got to ask is this. Who's the Super Bowl champions? And we'll tell you, right. It's the Philadelphia Eagles, baby. Let's move on, Donnie.
Yes, the last one here, Jeff, which I saved this for last. Because again, Jeff, I like to wear the hater hat, and I'm going to wear it a lot in this situation. I've worn it for years and years and years. And you see the bottom tagline right there. Mr. Fake Stats is added again. There's a player out there in the NBA who is a fantastic talent, a once-in-a-generational type of player. But I can't get over the fact, Jeff, that this player would rather get a triple-double than win a title. He's the opposite of a team player, the opposite of a winner. And there's a reason why he's not even up for MVP this year or in the discussion, Jeff. Mr. Fake Stats, Russell Westbrook. How about him?
What do you have to say? He's the second best player in the league. I mean, what do you mean? So what am I supposed to be mad at him because he went and got 16 rebounds? By the way, also had 19 assists, I believe. So again, we failed to mention that, Donnie. You didn't mention the fact that he had 19 assists. What's up? Any other questions?
The whole point on Westbrook here is, again, it's a similar right up to my Tiger Woods. I like to be a realist. And again, I like to get back to the kids with the posters above their bed who think he can dunk and he's really fast. And he's an unbelievable talent. I would never take away any of his talent. He's rocket fast, amazing ups, can score at will. But there comes a time when everybody's in collusion. I leave it up to the situation. Like, remember Michael Strahan? Maybe you're a little bit too young, early 2000s, needed a sack to get the all-time record. So Brett Favre went out there and laid down on the ground so Michael Strahan could come in and two-hand touch him and take it and say, oh, he's the greatest sack guy ever. He's not the greatest sack guy ever. Same way Evan Smith's not the best running back ever just because he has the yards he does.
Okay, Donnie, you're getting a little. This is a little ridiculous here. I mean, come on. He's averaged a triple-double all year, and you're bitching at him because in the last game of the season, his teammates gave him a couple extra rebounds.
Yeah, but
So
there's
does
a
that
reason for it. No, that's not the last game of the season. That whole team is built up so he just gets stats. You know what I find that the equivalent to, Jeff? If Nick Foles needed 56 yards rushing to get $1 million, and instead of handing the football off, he's running boot keeps the entire game so he gets 57 yards. And the fact that he had 1 point and 11 rebounds to start was hilarious and showed you exactly what he was aiming for. It's the same way we always got on Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was the one player that tried to win the MVP in All-Star games. People resent the fact if you let it come naturally, it's fine. Let's not forget, Westbrook's not winning anything. They're going to get bounced early from the playoffs, and he couldn't even make it work with Durant. How many times did we watch Durant in a game, light it up and hit 5 straight shots, and then Mr. Hero Ball goes, I'm not going to let him take all my shine. I'm going to shoot some threes. He's the ultimate stat filler that's never going to win anything. That's all.
well, we'll see. Who knows? I just don't think. I think you're really grasping for straws here. I mean, you really grasp for straws. I mean, I think if in any sport, I mean, same way. I mean, sometimes he needs he. Donnie, you didn't mention the 19 assists. Why didn't you mention that?
Yeah, it's hollow and empty. The last game last night was designed for him to get stats against one of the worst teams in the NBA. Stats don't matter to me out there. Triple double's nice. It's really exciting to watch. It's a great athletic feat, but it doesn't put wins in your pocket. I remember Oklahoma City coming in. Are they going to challenge? Can they get the top seed? All these all-stars on that team? No, because Westbrook isn't built that way. Westbrook is built to play hero ball, which is fun if you're playing NBA Jam, but not when you're trying to win NBA titles.
I think you got to. I think there's a pretty solid chance this year. Good basketball team he has there. Can he go and beat Houston or Golden State? Probably not, but I think he could throw his hand in. They're playing well right now. Paul George has been very good. I think it is interesting that we didn't mention that. Paul George, Donnie, last night had 40 points. Does anyone even know that? Because all I saw was Russell Westbrook in his triple double. We didn't see to mention that Paul George had 40 and he's played well there. I don't think he's going to leave Oklahoma City. I think they're going to all stay together and they're going to try to throw their hand in as well here. Donnie, let's move on. What did we
Yes.
have? We had a lot of crazy things going in baseball yesterday, Donnie. A lot of fisticuffs.
Yeah, no, a lot of fisticuffs yesterday. If you're watching, you don't get that high and in tight stuff, and some good fights out there because in that Boston Red Sox Yankee game, there's legitimate hate there. I don't know how much hate between Jeff the Rockies and San Diego can produce because number one, do they have any fans at all? But number two, Yankees and Red Sox go back damn near 100 years of anger going back to what? Babe Ruth being traded from the Sox over to the New York Yankees. That was a pretty good one, and they did slow it down. I don't know the player, Jeff, with somebody in the chat box, or you can bring it up. Somebody made some really good contact out there with a left hook in the middle of the pile. My man Cece, that I get angry with, Jeff, using his weight yesterday, throwing it around there out there. I like to see a nice little Donnybrook early in the season, and I hope it carries over. And Jeff, the Yankees and the Red Sox don't need any carryover, but it was nice to see the fight last night.
I'm going to disagree. I think it's the stupidest thing in sports. One of the stupidest things. It really doesn't fix anything at all. Doesn't make any sense. It only affects the team and the team going forward. And now I got to worry about who's going to get suspended and who doesn't because someone made a sneak punch in the middle of the fight or CC's tripping people or whatever. It doesn't help. It's dangerous. All these kids are so worried about injuries, yet they're throwing helmets at people's heads. They might tear something, lunging at someone. Again, I know it's fun. It's fun to see once in a while, but it doesn't prove anything. Listen, I get, there are times to fight in the world, but I don't know if there's ever really a time to fight in MLB. It's that bad. It just kind of affects the teams going forward, frankly. But it is
You know
very
what's funny with
dangerous.
that
I mean,
too?
you got people throwing baseballs at people's heads. I mean, it's dangerous, man.
Yeah, and even when you look at a baseball fight, like it's the antithesis of what a fight is. The pitcher and the outfield batter are going to have a problem. But in what sport would you allow both teams to fill out of the dugout and both bullpens? Hockey used to, and it was really cool when there was bench clearing brawls in hockey, and they realized, you know what? There needs to be a little bit more civility here. If you go over the boards, I'm going to put you out like 30 games. You know what happened, Jeff, after that? Nobody came across, and there's no more bench clearing brawls. The same thing in every single sport. Why can't you get it? And they're trying to play it off as the rule is, well, if my guy charges the mound, there's 9 fielders out there, and it's 9-on-1. You know how you fix that, Jeff? If the batter charges the pitcher, And the third guy in, which is in hockey, which is illegal, that guy gets bounced for 70 games. Do you think it would be okay? And they probably would let the the pitcher and the batter square up, because I know if I go in there, I'm going to lose $15 million if I'm making $25 million on the season. I'm not going anywhere near that pile there. It's amazing that in baseball, the game is sport you shouldn't be fighting at all, allows fights. Can you imagine in soccer, Jeff, if they're just allowed to square up in the middle of the field and get after it? No, because you would be launched out of the league. I can't understand. And again, where are the penalties at? Say, hey, if you throw at a batter and we deem it illegal, illegal, you threw at him and it was done on purpose, you get 50 games. I doubt they would be doing that, Jeff.
Right. And again, if the rules are in place that it is okay to charge them out and they're going to let it happen. The one thing I do have a problem with, and we talked about it last year, is the catcher needs to be the guy that stands up for his pitcher. I don't want the second baseman coming in and throwing haymakers. The catcher needs to grab the guy or do something. I mean, remember last year with that shithead Buster Posey? Doesn't do anything. He just lets Bryce Harper run at his pitcher and attack him. I don't know. It's a weird situation. It really doesn't solve anything. It's kind of like on Jerry Springer, Donnie, when they fight. It's not going to get too far because security's going to break it up, and it doesn't make much sense. Which, by the way, Donnie, I've been watching a ton of Jerry Springer. I've always watched Jerry Springer, but I've been watching a lot of it lately.
I saw you retweet one. Yes, I actually watched the one you retweeted out yesterday, which made me laugh. Like, Jeff really just retweeted that out in the middle of the day. Yeah.
It's funny, dude. It's really funny. There's some funny shit on there. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think they should put in some sort of, mandate that if you fight, I mean, it only hurts the teams. I mean, you're going to get suspensions. You're going to have to wear out bullpens and things like that. But yeah, we'll see. What else do we got, Donnie?
Slide it down there. Actually, don't slide it down there. We'll keep it going right here. Fight Night MLB, we just went over there. The NBA Finals are finally set, Jeff, as we talked about a little bit. We'll keep it brief on this one. But, hey, we're in Philadelphia, Jeff. I see you with the shirt on. We're excited by this because we have real basketball, and it's been a long – don't give me the Andre Iguodala 7th and 8th seed Sixers, Jeff. It's been a really long time, which we saw or we're going to see a Philadelphia Sixers team not win a title, not even maybe make the Eastern Conference Finals, but have the ability to make a run. I never thought after that post-Iverson years or 2003 on that you ever we're Sixers in the playoffs, great, get an extra 4 or 5 games to watch. They'll probably get bounced out, and we know they're not going anywhere. It's fun to see his team build and then enter into the playoffs. I'm excited about the Sixers run. I think the East is wide open. Do I think Toronto's the best team in the East? I do think Toronto's the best team in the East now that the Celtics have lost Kyrie Irving. East is wide open, but I'm actually interested, Jeff, in the West because I like playoff basketball. I like playoffs in general throughout sports. To watch Golden State, the Houston Rockets, all those teams out West that are going to go mano-a-mano, head-to-head, just to make it to the finals. Should be a fun one in the NBA.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Should be always NBA playoffs are always fun, and we have a rooting interest this year. What are you going to do if someone throws a baseball at Donnie when you guys are hanging out? Well, I'm also not a Major League Baseball player, so again, I probably will react. I'm also though not in the MLB, and again, it's not in my blood basically to just not do anything. But again, when you're an MLB player, you have to serve a certain level of professionalism. They should cut fighting out in general. I'm not saying you shouldn't fight, but I think the MLB should do something about fixing it and making it where they don't fight. It doesn't belong in the game. It's not hockey. It's not boxing. Hockey, I don't mind it either. But in baseball, it's if you're trying to speed the game up, well, do something there. I mean, it seems like every couple weeks there's some sort of fighting match where they're throwing at people, and the umps have little to no control. I think you got to cut it out in general. There's nothing wrong with the fighting because listen, if you don't have a rule against it, people are going to break it. Just is what it is.
Correct.
If you have some sort of heavy rule in place where, hey, if you fight 20-game suspension or some kind of suspension, people are going to not do it. This is going to be a great NBA playoffs. Not that long ago, Golden State was a slam dunk, but now it's going to be interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
First time in a while, we actually have some intrigue, let's say.
And and obviously with Steph Curry coming back, you're never guaranteed to come back. Like, hey, Steph Curry's out. I mean, that's a knee injury. You're never guaranteed to come back, be 100% and light the world on fire. And all it takes is for one of your key cogs to be off in a playoff run and have a James Harden, Chris Paul coming at you to unseat you at the throne. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm not a big NBA fan throughout the season. I just think it's too long. The same way in hockey. I like the Flyers, but I mean, I like the Flyers even more in the playoffs, albeit getting bounced 7-0 last night, which we're going to talk to about in just a few seconds. But no, I'm looking forward to it. We'll transition right over, Jeff. Make it quick. NHL playoffs last night. It was quick and it was painless. And sometimes that's the way I like it. Didn't have to get invested last night. They were down 3-0 right off the bat. Was able to switch over, watch a little Phillies baseball, watch a little Philadelphia 76ers. But some interesting stuff last night, Jeff, which I love playoff pageantry there. Vegas opens up. I used to love when Montreal, the Canadiens, are in the playoffs because they always had a great pregame theme to open up the playoffs throughout the playoffs. Each and every night have something different with all the history that they have. Pageantry in the playoffs is awesome. The hockey playoffs are great. And last night, outside of the Flyers, you did have two good games.
Yeah, I'm not a big hockey guy, Donnie. I'll let you have fun with this. I saw some of the
Mm-hmm.
atmospheres, though. It was pretty nice. Some of the different stadiums. Yeah, impressive stuff.
No, yeah, yeah. See, we'll make it short and quick, Jeff. Here we're on the clock. We like to keep it
I
moving
got
out here.
nothing.
Yeah. The Mets off to a record start, 10-1, best in franchise history. This is one of the teams you're going to want to pay attention to. The one thing that we always like to joke about in Philadelphia, the MVP of the Philadelphia Phillies for the most part, I always like to say, actually, Jeff, was Bernie Madoff because he took all the money out of the big market Mets where they couldn't spend for years. It's going to be interesting because to me, they're still a cash poor franchise, and adding on at the deadline because it looks like they're going to have a good team. I wonder what they'll be able to come up with or do because in the years past, Jeff, if Bryce Harper or Manny Machado was coming up to be as a free agent, the Mets would be a viable option. The Mets don't have any money, and I don't know when they're going to start getting their money back with how much they lost in that whole Madoff fiasco. But the Mets are 10-1. It's not really an overall surprise at this point. More of a surprise would be like, the LA Dodgers getting bounced nightly, it seems like. But the Mets are a good baseball team. They're going to stick around. They're going to fight for maybe even the NL East title, but they will be in the mix for a wild card. And I think before the season, Jeff, we both had the Mets sneaking into the wild card as is.
Yeah, and they continue to just kind of sure up and give you a reason to continue to feel excited about this team. I mean, Zach Wheeler was very good last night. He gives you a viable fourth starting role there. They just keep getting big hits, Donnie. I mean, again, it'll change at some point. Season's too long for it to continue, but they've been fun to watch for sure. You don't really want to bet against them right now, but we'll see. The Marlins are the Marlins. We'll see if they can keep it up. But again, they're going to have a lot of opportunities against the Marlins on a regular basis. The Phillies have looked poor. Yeah, it's been a nice start to the season for the Mets. They made me some money. I've been on them a couple different times.
Yeah, no, and then keep it moving down the list there. The Oakland A's, Jeff, hang 16 on the LA Dodgers. I don't know what's going out there in La La Land. Maybe they were just reading the hype and the fact that they're just going to come in the season and steamroll their way into the playoffs, see if they can pull down a World Series with that monster payroll. Turner goes down. They haven't pitched all that well, haven't hit all that well. Give up 16 to the road. Oakland Athletics, a winning pitcher, Mengden, went against Alex Wood last night, Jeff. They closed at minus 178 with a total of 7.5 and blew them out.
Yeah, this is kind of the kind of game that I wanted the night before when I had Oakland. But yeah, no, Oakland was fantastic last night. Mangden, usually with a matchup like this, I think a lot of people. And you look at the line in this game. I mean, it kind of signified that the Dodgers might have been the play there. You're laying some money with LA, but Wood's velocity's kind of been down a little bit. He wasn't good last night. Yeah, big win for Oakland. A big catch for Trace Thompson. He had a huge catch out in the outfield against his former team. So yeah, big night for Oakland. They were very good.
Junior Gurra, Jeff, versus Wainwright yesterday turned out to be a good one. 3-2 winner. The road team taking down plus 127 at Chris, plus 133 at Bet Online. Stays under the total of 8.5. Got a little bit hairy in the ninth inning for the Milwaukee Brewers, but they hang on for the 3-2 victory. It's one of those teams where, Jeff, I've bet a lot over the years because there's a lot of value back on Milwaukee. Now you're going to start to see if they get some pitching, that value start to turn, but a nice win on the road. I've always liked Junior Gurra. We'll see if he can hold on because he did fade late in the season last year, but sneaky early, Jeff. Seems like early in the season, Junior Gurra effective, but we'll see if he can continue that throughout the summer.
They need him to because they don't have a ton in that rotation as it is. You need him to pitch well, and I like Guerra over the last couple of years. He's been a good moneymaker. Last year he was injured a lot and that kind of thing, but if he's fully healthy, you need him because you don't have a ton of big names in that rotation. You have the lineup, you just need the rotation, and Junior Guerra is a nice piece if you can get it. He's a good pitcher.
No, yeah, impressive there. Cubs, Jeff, as we like to talk about, waiting for the Cubs to actually turn the corner and get it popping here. If we bring up some stats from yesterday, Pittsburgh and Chicago, they get off the schneid, Jeff. 13-5 in the Windy City yesterday, closing as a healthy favorite of minus 160. But, Jeff, that line opened up at minus 197 at Pinnacle, minus 203 at Chris, backed up a little bit and hammered it. Cubs, nice win last night.
Yes, big win for them. You had to figure at some point the Pittsburgh Pirates would come back to earth a bit. They're still hitting though, so that's important. I wouldn't jump off the Pirates just yet. Still, plenty of time to make money with them. Braille was just not good last night.
No, no. We'll get into some Major League Baseball today. If we slide it down on the slate, we'll do a quick little preview of a couple of these games. Smaller card today, which is not a surprise being on a Thursday. We'll start with 9:03, 9:04, St. Louis and Cincinnati. Michael Wacha on the mound versus Sal Romano. They got bounced out of the city of Philadelphia. Cincinnati, Jeff, looks like they're going to get bounced out of a lot of cities, including their home ballpark this year. Line opened up at minus 127 at Pinnacle, now sitting at 140 at Pinnacle. Chris opened up at 130. That's now at 143. Over under in this one opened up at 9, now catching some juice. If you want that over, you're probably going to be paying at least minus 120 at 9. Sal Romano, Michael Wacha, Jeff. What can we anticipate tonight in this grueling card out in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I mean Cincinnati's those 9 of 11 to start the season, really struggling. But maybe you think, oh well, you get Michael Wacha. He hasn't been, you know, awesome in his first two starts, but he's had great numbers in his career against the Cincinnati Reds. 8-1 in 14 starts with an ERA of 2.31. He's been very good over the years against the Cincinnati Reds. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton overall. I like Waka against the Reds, and I think St. Louis is obviously a better team than Cincinnati is. I'll lay the 140.
Yanks Sox again coming back at it today, Jeff. That's 9-11, 9-12. Gray and Porcello going to be on the mound. 57% of those tickets going to back the Red Sox. Similar situation yesterday. Pinnacle opens up. Boston is a favorite, minus 113. Chris opens up. Boston as a favorite, minus 130. Those numbers back down to a pick 'em. 9 across the board with an over-under. Gray on the road in the big spot here versus Porcello. Can the Yankees piece another one to try to claw back and get at the Red Sox today?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting game. You know, first game between these two teams, Yankee blowout. Second game, or Red Sox blowout. Second game, Yankee, get the job done, fairly easily. Um, Both pitchers, I'm kind of numb on. I'm not a big Porcello guy. I guess the upside here is Sonny Gray. You got to figure after yesterday, maybe that Yankee lineup got going a little bit. Gary Sanchez had a big game. Giancarlo had a solid game. Um, but right now, frankly, if I'm taking the Yankees, I'm maybe looking first five. That bullpen, I don't really want to get involved with right now. They're not pitching well on the road. They have an ERA almost at 7. They've struggled. Lean Yankees here. Real toss up though. This is about as big a toss up as you're going to get, because I do like Gray a bit more than Porcello, but long term, the Red Sox lineup looks a little bit more potent right now, at least. So yeah, toss up for me. Tough one.
Yeah, Sanchez, Jeff, nice battle back last night. 2 home runs. Looks like Stanton also coming back. So, hey, he's going to get a little bit warmer weather over the weekend. We'll keep an eye on that. 9:09, 9:10, 6:10 start out in Cleveland. And again, if you have any, before we get into this game, Cleveland starting their games at 6 o'clock. Is there a reason behind this?
They always do this. I mean, they do this a lot during the basketball season because the Cavs generally have a game and they want to get,
There you
a
go.
little early
There you
going.
go. Okay.
Yeah, they do this a
That
lot in
makes sense.
Cleveland. And Donnie, last night, Carlos Carrasco was very good for the Indians. He hit a complete game, 3-hitter, was really, really solid. You have another good pitching matchup here. And again, Donnie, you have another odd total here. I grabbed the under last night. I'm going to grab it again today. I don't
Yeah.
understand these totals at 8, 8.5 when it comes to the Cleveland Indians. This team has not done anything offensively. And then you look at the other side. This Detroit team has been horrid at the plate. I mean, 6 games on the road this year, they're hitting 185. You have 2 good pitchers here. One in Fulmer, who, you look at his first 2 starts this year, 14 and a third. He's given up 1 earned run this season. He doesn't give up many home runs. And then you look at Bauer. I mean, he's been consistently good over the last, year or so. He was good, great last year, good so far this year. I'm all over the under here. I'm going to keep riding this. Uh, I had it last night, and Donnie, I had to deal with Jordan Zimmerman going out in the first inning, which again, maybe certain people will say, well, that's a blessing in a way because Jordan Zimmerman sucks. But 4-1 last night. For Cleveland, their goal is to score 3 or 4 runs and not give up more than three. That's the goal. Under here for me again. I'll go back to the well here.
There you go. Short little slate. Let's slide it down. We're going to start to have some fun again. Next two topics here, situationals on those box. Other sporting news. We like to hit outside of just capping games. The morning show, we like to have a little bit of fun, Jeff. And if we slide that down to other sporting news, Jeff, I know you want to talk about this. Tristan Thompson. Sometimes, Jeff, people just don't understand what they're doing in life. People always make the mistake. Some of these women always fall for the same type of situation and always get burned in that same type of situation. Tristan Thompson out in the club with two women. I guess he can play it off and say it's the first time it's ever happened. My guess, it probably happens every single city that he goes to. It's not surprising in the least. The only surprising thing is that guys like Tristan Thompson try to have long-term relationships while they're still in the NBA. Live a little. I'm not a big Derek Jeter fan, but Derek Jeter wrote the playbook. Live like Derek Jeter, you idiots.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to look at this. Obviously, the one way though is to look at it the fact that, look, you can say what you want, and I'm going to keep saying it. You say what you want about the Kardashians, but look, I don't think any woman deserves this. Chloe seems like a nice person, seems like a very interesting person. Definitely will take care of you, hold you down. Very attractive, obviously. To take care of a kid that you're going to have here in a matter of days. This is Tristan, and this is typical NBA. I mean, I agree. I don't know why you get married. I don't get the thought process there. You have a ton of money. It's not like you need to latch on to a woman for success. Tristan Thompson is, a scummy guy. I mean, there's nothing more scummy than, and more morally than seeing guys, with women, many of them, which, some are pregnant at the time. I mean, you see some of the video, Donnie, with this. I mean, it's straightforward. You see him at the club. You see the women feeling up on him. You see him walking into the hotel with a broad, 20 minutes later walking back out. Look, I get there's a lot of beautiful women out there. I get it. So why are you with a broad if you're gonna you know stray? I never really understood it, especially being this rich. I would never get married. I don't want to get married now, and I don't.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere. I'll never be an NBA talent and have money like that. I don't get the thought process here. If you're Tristan Thompson, if you're gonna do it, um, don't go to a club where you're 7 foot tall and. I mean, you know how people are nowadays. They're going to take videos and shit. They don't care. They just
Yep.
want a little payday and they can sell it to someone. It's a sad thing. I actually, Chloe's the one Kardashian that I do kind of like somewhat. I think she's pretty straightforward. She seems fun. Seems interesting. Like I said, seems like a good person. I don't know why you would, do this. She doesn't really seem to me to fit in that family. She doesn't seem like
OJ's
she's
kid.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem she's out there for a ton of fame. Again, I think she's obviously in it. She's going to take it, but she seems like a genuine person to me. Again, I don't know, but yeah, definitely a sad story there.
Yeah, Alden Smith, 0.40 blood alcohol level, arrested. I believe he was going to get fitted for his ankle monitor, Jeff, and tested in. They immediately took him off to jail. This guy all along we knew had a screw loose in his head, but the fact that he could sack the quarterback, everybody looks the opposite direction. But when everything keeps piling up, Jeff, there's nothing more you can do. This is a troubled human being, needs to be, I don't want to say locked away, but he needs to get some help, some psych ward, to dry out a little bit and really get his life back in order because he is a mess right now. Or I should say, always been a mess, right?
Yeah, yeah. Real quick, back to the previous discussion. Antonio Jones, she gets what she deserves. What do you mean? There's no one deserves that. Listen, again, I'm not going to say I know what situation's going here. Maybe they're going through some problems, but end it. There's no need to embarrass her publicly. There's no need to do that. I mean, it, what is she? Why does she deserve that? Because she's famous and part of a family that people don't like. Why they don't like them, I don't know. Because they're just rich and famous and good looking and better than most people. That's probably why you're just jealous at the end of the day. Because that's what most people are. They're just jealous of others, so they find ways to try to make fun of them or to belittle what they're doing. Listen, do I think Kim Kardashian's talented? No. But she is a brilliant human being and found a way to make a ton of money off very little talent. You got to respect that. I don't care who you are. Donnie, you might not like the Kardashians, but you have to respect what they've been able to do as
Yeah.
people. I mean, they're
Yeah.
smart
Money's
people.
money.
Right. Listen, at the end of the day, when you're 67 years old, nobody really gives a flying fuck how you made your money. You just got to make it.
Yep.
And again, they're not doing anything illegal. You could say
No,
what you want
and I
about
guess yeah,
not
it's the
liking
same
them,
thing.
but
Like, yeah, you could put it right over to our, I would like to say our profession as well. A lot of people out there don't know what the hell they're talking about, but if they make money, it works, man.
exactly. Yeah, as far as Alden Smith, yeah, you see guys like this in the NFL, the NBA, they do fall between the cracks a bit, and Alden Smith needs to get some help. He definitely needs to get some help. A lot like some of these other guys. Hopefully, someone will step in and get him help, but you got to wonder it's might be too late for him here.
Nope, our time is just about run short, Jeff. You want to leave them out there? Any We're going to be all over the channels because I know for me, I'm going to take a nap this afternoon. How about you, big man?
I am definitely going to go back to sleep here in a moment, but I will be on a little bit later with the Premier League punters. We'll go over the Saturday and Sunday English football games. We're getting closer and closer. There's about 4 weeks left, so we'll finish that up. One other thing, Jake Farmer, Kim K, brilliant, laughed my ass off. Okay, well, if you can explain to me how she's not, I'd like to hear it. Because she doesn't look like she'd be smart. Uh, I've gotten a lot of shit on these channels for talking about the Kardashians the way I do. I think they're brilliant people. And again, you think they care? You think the balls are another good point, Teddy. Good point. It doesn't matter how you make the money. It's about you make it. They make a lot of
Jeff,
money for very little talent.
Jeff, by the way, we've been extended for at least another 10 minutes. So now we can really get after it here with a couple of these other
Oh, good.
topics. We could talk Khloe Kardashian, whatever you want. But if we keep going, Jeff, the NFL preseason is out, which I'm going to put my hater hat on again. Do I care about the NFL preseason? No. Do I even watch other than, the Philadelphia Eagles for 10 minutes in the preseason? No. I don't care what happens in the preseason because it's not really football. But I always have an axe to grind with the NFL who, again, Jeff, seems to don't understand what their fans or their public deserves or actually wants. Case in point, if you don't, and keep in mind, nobody's going to care about this except if you are a season ticket holder in the NFL where they charge you through the nose just to get into the door, Jeff. The preseason has how many games? 4 overall games, right? The first game, your starters will come out, say hello to the crowd, maybe take a snap and go sit the bench. Game 2, they might be in for half of the first quarter. Game 3, they might play all the way through the first quarter and halfway through the second quarter. Game 4, you don't know a damn player on that field. Case in point for my Philadelphia Eagles, Jeff. Games 2 and 3, the only time you will see starting caliber football, both of those games are on the road. The Eagles have home game 1 and home game 4, which means I'll see a grand total of like 3 plays of starters if I go to the game, but yet my tickets are still going to sit at over $280 a pop. The hell out of here.
Yeah, well, again, that's why I won't say anything about preseason. Nobody cares.
No, nobody. That's just an event for me. But if anybody out there who comes in
Well,
here who
good
is
vet.
a season ticket holder, it is absolutely preseason's atrocious as is. And the fact that they would do that to a paying customer fan base, and it's not the first time they've done it, and other cities get it done to them as well. It's absolutely egregious that they make that happen. Next up, Jeff, Dez and the Cowboys. The reason why we have this on the tagline, Dez obviously a wide receiver that was once at the top of his game, now pummeling down to the bottom. Obviously lost a lot of, forget about a first step. He might have lost 2 steps at this point, not nearly as effective. But in his mind, Jeff, typical wide receiver, they think they're worth way much more than they are. Friday sits down with Jerry Jones. The smart move for the Cowboys to me, Jeff, straight up cut him. Save the salary, move on. You don't need Dez Bryant to make all that money and think he is what he is. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I would actually want Dez Bryant to be cut to move on from that headache. And I think the offense would actually be better without Dez Bryant, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you have him on the sidelines whining and complaining all the time. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. There's a good group of wide receivers in this draft. You can go out and grab, and this is the one concern about the Eagles. I mean, I'd love Cortland Sutton with the Eagles, but I think he could be a real target maybe for Dallas there. I think they'll go defense, but it is fairly possible that they do say, you know what, I like DJ Moore. We like Cortland Sutton. Let's make a move here. They've seen plenty of Cortland Sutton with him being in Southern Methodist. So yeah, I agree with you. Cut it and move on from it. Why deal with it anymore?
Yeah, the only diva I'm going to agree to have for the most part, Jeff, obviously would be like a diva if he was a quarterback because of how instrumental he is to wins and losses for your football team. And especially if you're a wide receiver, you might put up with Odell Beckham, right? And you might pay him a lot of money, but he damn well better get 1,700 yards and 14 touchdowns out there. If he's not doing that, it's not worth the headache. And Des Bryant, as we all know, obviously the past couple years, not the same wide receiver that he once was. I think it's a little bit too much on the headache. Let's slide it down one more time, Jeff, for the last bit of the show. A little bit of TV talk that we always like to have. A couple things came up on TV that we've seen over the past couple weeks and just couldn't get to. Now we have a little bit of extended time. We can talk about it, Jeff. First one up was on the other night, Andre the Giant documentary. I'm a historian, graduated college with a degree in history. I always like to get the backgrounds of interesting stories that I technically didn't know. The Andre the Giant documentary was fantastic to see the way he grew up and lived his life. One of those modern figures when I was growing up as a kid, and I liked wrestling as a kid. He was one of the main superstars, but really cool to see how the life of a wrestler and the life of Andre the Giant was. I thought it was really well done from HBO, and it's something that they continue to do well, these little documentaries.
Yeah, I don't understand the point of this movie. I don't understand why we're propping up someone like this. He was a drunk. I mean, that's all he was. Why are we?
Oh, he
Why are we
wasn't all he
celebrating?
was.
What did he do? Other than being a drunk? What did he do?
He was a superstar. I mean, for what, 10 years, he was probably the most recognizable face on the planet. When you saw Andre the Giant, you knew exactly who that was, along with Hulk Hogan. He was a prominent
I'll be
figure
honest. I didn't
globally.
know I didn't know who this guy was until 3 days ago. But again,
Well, no, you don't
this.
remember. I'm going
Yeah,
back to a day. You wouldn't know a lot of people from the 80s, though. But the whole point, like if you grew up
yeah.
with that and you were around at that time, like him and Hulk Hogan, if you just flashed up their picture, a lot of people would probably know him other than like Ronald Reagan. Like, yeah, it's Hollywood. That's Hulk Hogan, and that's Andre the Giant right there. I just like to see how stuff comes up. The same thing like ESPN had the Ric Flair story. I wasn't a big Ric Flair fan growing up, because obviously, coming through the 80s and 90s, I'm more a WWF guy when I was a kid watching it. But it's a great backstory. I love to see stories that I don't know all that much about. I just think it's intriguing, especially when they're done really well. Because, HBO is not going to go in there and just, roll some dice and see how it comes out. I thought it was really well
Yeah.
done and pretty interesting start to finish.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, HBO. I don't think there's anything that they've done that I haven't liked, other than the Madoff thing. I thought the Madoff thing. I don't think it was a bad idea. It just wasn't done well enough. It should have been a little
Didn't have
longer.
enough.
For some
It
reason,
wasn't exciting enough. Yeah. Yeah.
and for some reason, HBO makes like they feel the need to like throw everything in to a 2 hour like time slot. Like we can't have like a little like 3 part series. Like why can't we? Like it's always got to be thrown in like 2 hour thing. Like I think the Paterno thing could have went a couple more episodes. Like there's nothing wrong with a 3 part series. People will come back and watch it.
No, I would agree with you. And that's what we're going to talk about next, the whole Paterno thing and watching it. I didn't learn anything outside of what I already knew in the Joe Paterno thing. That's why I wanted to watch it, and I did watch it. And I thought Pacino was very good as Joe Paterno and played him to a T on his whole thought process. Basically, like I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I have Nebraska this week, which is the way it always went down, and I always got sort of a little snicker out of it because that's the way it is in Penn State. Like it doesn't matter what's going on outside of this football stadium right here. We worry about football and football only here. Which again, I joked early on, Jeff. We now see the movie Paterno. How about in maybe 5, 6, 7 years, are we going to see the movie Izzo come out? Because if you ask me, it's hard to say, one is worse than the other. But now that Penn State happened and everybody has a callus built up where, every time you turn on the news, something happens or a shooting happens. Like, it was bigger news when it happened last week, 2 weeks, or a year before. The Michigan State, I mean, legitimately, if what the NCAA moved in and did to Penn State, Jeff, they literally should go to Michigan State, take the keys to the front door, padlock it, and shut down the entire university so it could never open again. But since Penn State already happened, everybody just says, we saw that before. Let's just keep it moving. It's always interesting to me to see the next scandal down the line doesn't get as much as the first scandal.
Yeah, no. I mean, and that's the sad thing. It's scandal after scandal after scandal. It never stops. Real quick, Donnie, I want to comment on something here. We're
Yep.
kind of like we're kind of in the level here where we have a lot of topics going on. Many people suffer with addiction, big man. Try not to be too judgmental. You also have weaknesses. Once I think BMOC has turned a corner, he contradicts himself. First of all, how did I contradict myself? What are you talking about? Who's addicted? What? He's addicted. He's a drunk. What do you want me to say? He's an alcoholic. What's his addiction? He's addicted. You're right. I'm saying I'm not going to celebrate that. He should have went and got help. I mean, what issue did he have? He was a rich wrestler, and he's a drunk. I mean, what else do you want me to say? I've not. There's no one more. You know, addiction. I clearly think is a problem. But I'm not. You guys are making him out to be some great guy. He was a drunk. That's what he was. I'm just saying. I'm very. I care a lot about addiction. I think it's clearly a problem. I don't know if he had problems. I don't know a lot about the guy. All I'm saying is, from what I saw, that's what he was, a drunk. But
Yeah, I mean,
yes, go ahead, Donnie.
no, I was going to say, like, I understand your point there. It's interesting though because he lived that in life on the road, where when you're that big bombastic guy and you're on TV all the time, and you're a star. You sort of try to play up to it. So if somebody says you drink a lot, sometimes you go out to the bar and you make sure you drink a lot just to keep up with it. But also, I can't even imagine where like the doctors are telling you, like, with this disease that you have, you're not going to make it very long in life. That leads you to say, you know what? If I'm not going to make it very long in life, why not just burn both ends of the candle at this point? Because I don't have much longer to live anyway. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that went into it. And yes, he had bad back problems, bad neck problems, was in pain a lot. So sometimes you self-medicate yourself with alcohol, and that's how he did it.
And again, I respect the hell out of the guy. I mean, you were a successful wrestler at a time when wrestling was important. You made your money. But again, you couldn't deal with your problems, so you threw them into alcohol and things like that. You got to recognize, you got to go and get help for stuff like that. But again, it's a different time. He did his thing. I give him the respect. To me, Donnie, and I think to a lot of people. Um, Dom Ricci's again trying to paint me to be someone all I care about is money. Um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much true. You're right. I think life's a whole lot easier probably when you have money. Um, we can talk about this whole crap facade that you can be happy without money as long as you have love. No, you can't. There's a whole lot of nice people that love each other that live on the streets. Listen, I hate to be callous and like that, but I prefer to have a little something myself. That's all. It's not all about money to me. I see people. I just think certain people. Hey, you got to respect how they got their money. I'm not saying that I respect Kim Kardashian in a way that I think we need to bow down to her, but I think it's impressive how they've made their money. That's all. I respect Andre the Giant. I just don't know why we're giving him a movie. I don't know what it's really about. I don't know a ton about him though, frankly. So maybe I shouldn't have commented on it, frankly. But Donnie, we'll wrap it up as always. I gotta tell
Mhm.
you, this has been a great show. A lot of great
I
talk
loved it.
on here.
Yeah,
A lot of
loved it.
good. Listen, this is what we love about this show. We can come on here, we can chat, we can have fun, and that's that. We move on. Tomorrow will be another day. We'll talk about a lot more things as well. We enjoy the show here. It's fun. Sometimes we disagree. A lot of the time you might disagree with me, but we're painting ourselves. We're showing you who we are. This is who I am. This is who Donnie is. If you ever meet me, you'll see. Oh, big man's a cold, callous motherfucker. And you'll see that Donnie is a cold, callous motherfucker as well. That's what this is about. We're not going to paint ourselves into being we're nice guys that love everybody. Sometimes we don't agree, but we appreciate you all tuning in. Great stuff, great listeners, great content, great participation. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern here on SBR Sports Week. This is the big man on canvas. He's Donnie Rightside. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.